I didn't make it to the gym this morning. That's 5 years in a row. I think I'm going to change the name of my bathroom from John to Jim. That way I can tell people honestly that, hey, I went to the gym this morning, just in keeping with good health talk. There's a writer and a TV personality in Canada, Andrew Coyne. He writes some interesting articles. This one I take great exception to. He's talking about restaurants, and he's saying there should be a no tipping policy. It's cumbersome, it's embarrassing, it's demeaning. Why do we tip people? The restaurant should just add the tip. 18% to the bill. But you just double spoke, didn't you, Andrew? Because you're saying that I don't have a choice to tip, but you're still going to tip. It's going to be added to the bill. I mean, they do that in other places, like in France, notably. My wife and I were there years ago. Didn't figure it out. Took a couple of weeks. And when I did, I thought, hey, I've been tipping 15 to 20%, and these guys are already getting 18%. They've taken my choice away. Of course they did. They're a socialist society. That's what you're all supposed to do when you're a commie. And he's suggesting that be done in Canada. He goes on to say this, that tipping is a broken business model. I think the broken business model is the one that's called free enterprise or capitalism, because you know what? We got to have choices, and it's our choice to tip. He further says the restaurant people get tipped because they don't get paid enough. Who am I to pay some other guy's bills? I mean, if you have a restaurant, it kind of comes with the territory to make sure that you can afford or justify having people work for you. I don't know. It's a pretty slippery slope. All teachers should be fired because of sexual orientation. They ignore the fact that schools, when they don't want to be fired, that is, they ignore the fact that schools have codes of conduct, not codes of being. They also ignore the fact that a religious school's behavioral expectations apply only to teachers who voluntarily work at schools, or they choose to work there. This is about teachers in Canada and the United States who are saying, hey, we want to be openly gay. We want to tell the student body that we're gay, and maybe tell them that it's a good thing to be gay. And a lot of school boards are now saying, hey, not so fast. You don't have to work here, you know. You kind of got to do what we say. And the unions are up in arms, and it's always about that coming out of the closet thing. I want to announce it. Well, I want to come out of the closet now. I want to make an announcement. I'm straight. I mean, who cares about that kind of stuff? And they continue being themselves. Last Wednesday, the House of Commons in Canada was the scene of yet another national tragedy. Members of Parliament were ordered by the Prime Minister, worse yet by his office of unelected guys in short pants, that they had to vote a certain way, and they did. Wow, what's wrong with these people? I mean, I guess when you go to Ottawa, the nerves are removed or something. Why? I mean, make a responsible decision for the people who put you there. Instead, the Prime Minister says, I made this decision today and you guys do that. This particular one is with regard to an abortion issue, but you know what, doesn't matter what the issue is, you're not supposed to be ordered around like that. Who elected who? I mean, you don't, and then you appoint people. Now I'm talking about the Prime Minister, you appoint them, and you don't trust them anyway. What's the point? Kind of like your boss, as long as you do what you're told. All of my ex-wives used to tell me the same thing. The Conservative government in Canada is not interested in changing government at all. They're only interested in being the government. The federal government looks pretty much the same today as it did when they took power several years ago. And worse yet, it looks the same as when other governments, liberal governments, ran the country. Nothing has changed. You know what? They're not conservatives, they're fraudsters. I mean, they're calling themselves a conservative when in fact they're not. They haven't privatized or closed the CBC, Via Rail, Perlator, and many other businesses that are actually owned by them. Conservative governments are not supposed to own things like that. And they would cut red tape if they were truly conservative. They would set election dates, they would impose term limits. They would do what the vast majority of Canadians want. They would dismantle the Official Languages Act that reinstate capital punishment, restore the right of self-defense, abolish the Senate, and there are so many other things. I mean, we could talk about that all day long. And the Conservative government saying, but we're conservatives. Not so fast. They're not conservatives. Let me end today talking about the gym, obesity, working out, stuff like that. There's been new developments now in science has led to the unimaginable. Weight loss. Scientists predict the end of all obesity in Canada by the year 2018. Within that time period, weight loss clinics will be shuttered, diet doctors will be obsolete, and virtually no one in the country will ever be fat again. Why? Because the liberal governments have bankrupted the country and everyone will starve to death. Y'all come back tomorrow. We're going to have more for you from the right. See ya.